All right, my friends, so what we've got here is we're back from our video, our other video where we're doing the charging of the battery. Came back now, it looks like we're at 100%. So this guy's charged at 100%, all right? This is my old battery I had taken out that was just sitting in my car, or sitting in the garage since December, just sitting there. And all signs of heat, and all kinds of cold, and yet it took all of 30 minutes to charge it. It was down to 53% charged. And I hadn't touched it. 53% charged, now it's at 100. So we're going to go ahead and unplug it from the wall. Now we're going to take the alligator clips off. So we black, you red, and now we're going to put that over there. All right. So a couple experiments we're going to run is I have the dehumidifier plugged into my 800 watt Stanley inverter. All right, so we have the dehumidifier plugged into that, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, black alligator clips, red alligator clips, and we're going to turn this puppy on. You ready? Boink. And so let's see what happens. All right, right there, because there's no load on it right now, it's at zero watts. All right, because this guy isn't turned on. See nothing. Now, let's turn this guy on and see what happens. And immediately, 80 watts. That's it. So, wow, okay. So it's staying pretty low. Let's see if it kicks up anymore. Oh, only 80 watts there, so that's interesting. That's on an 800 watt inverter. And right now it's only taking 80 watts, 79 to be precise. Now it's at 60% humidity. I wonder if we turn that guy down a little bit. Let's turn it to 50. See if that changes anything. Not much. Not much. All right, cool. And as you can see, we got the full battery right there. Man, 79 watts. That's nothing. Wow, I'm surprised by that. But there it is. It's kicking in. No other way around that. So low fan speed. Let's turn to high fan speed. See if that does anything. Now we got high fan speed. 80 watts, nothing. All right, so I wonder how long that would last for on this, and then we can figure it out pretty easily actually what the amp hours on this battery would be, and I don't know. So remember, all that's doing is running this dehumidifier off this battery, which I just charged with a 120 volt US outlet with our Schumacher battery charger. Actually, it would be kind of cool to do an experiment, actually, see how long that would run for. We can figure it out. I just off the top of my head, I can't remember the math that goes into it. That's interesting. So while we're doing that, now let's do this. We're going to try something else. You ready? It's be fun. All right. So let's turn this guy off. And now what we're going to do, take that guy out, take that guy out. Here's my 400 watt inverter. We're just going to try another little experiment, but this time with this fan right here. I want to show you something. All right. All right, there we go. So now this is a 400 watt inverter. All right, so it takes 400, max can do is 400 watts, 3.1 amp right there, USB, and there is a replacement fuse in there because we might burn it out this time. So let's see. I can put the phone down for a second. Got to plug this guy in. All right. So now I got this guy plugged into this guy, and we're going to take this cord plug into my fan. All right, so we're all with me there. So this shouldn't be too much of a load at all. Now I'm all tied up in my mic here. All right, so let's turn this guy on, the fan. Oops, we got to turn it on, of course. So let's turn this guy back off. Turn this guy on, which is right there. All right, so now we got that guy turned on. You can't really see it. 12.6, it doesn't, can you see that? It's 12.6 volts is what it's saying the battery's doing, which is exactly what we want. Anything below, yeah, it's hard to see with my phone. Anything below 12, we have a Hurton unit for a 12 volt battery. All right, so we're going to turn the fan on. Just turn the fan on. And that guy is going nice. All right, so we got, it's not really showing the phone. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's 12.4 volts, and we got a nice little breeze right there from the van. Now remember, this is only a 400 watt unit, so we're going to turn this on to heat. You ready? Let's see what happens. Oh, it died on me. Look at the voltage going down, down, down. Things hurting. It's hurting because it's too much. The heating element, this is what I was saying all the time, the heating element is your biggest, yeah, let's see, it just blew this guy out, so we'll have to unplug that. And what happened was your heating element is your biggest source of electricity in terms of usage. Let me put this phone back down for a second. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this right here, plug in this 800 watt inverter, all right, and we're going to turn it back on. But now we got to take this guy off here, take this guy off here, put this guy on here, put this guy on here. All right, so now, all right, going back again, we got a couple of things happening. Battery connected to 800 watt inverter. We have two things plugged into it, but I'm only going to run one thing. We could run this guy. Well, in fact, let's do it. You ready? So let's turn this guy on. We're going to run a couple of things. We got two things running on this guy. We got the dehumidifier and we got the fan all run at the same time. And between them, they're taking off 108 watts. That's it. 108 watts. Nothing. Nothing. All right, so let me do something else. Let's turn this guy off. So I just turned the dehumidifier off, and that fan is taking 50 watts. I'm surprised you're going to take it that much. 50 watts, that's nothing. Now let's turn the heat on. Now you don't, look at that. 300, look at that. That's the amount. See, look at the wattage on just running a heating element. That's what's crazy. 550, 570. Do I get 600? Yes! And now it's saying, whoa, we're too high, we're too high. Look at the batteries dying on us because it's taking too much watts. And you can quickly see. Now we just turn the heat off again. We're back here. See how low, how many watts is usage and how quickly that battery was just draining? And you hear the sound, the beeping, beeping. That's because the battery does not like a heating unit, even something small as that. But now the funny thing, look, 49 watts. We can put the dehumidifier on again. Dehumidifier is on again, 110 watts. That's what makes this thing just so remarkable. And I just unplugged it. Is that you can have, that is an old battery right there. I'll just turn this guy off. There we go. That's an old battery right there. That was in my car that the guy was going to toss out when I had the, your basic lease work where you change the battery, do all that stuff. And by the way, I'm a financial planner. I like leasing. A lot of people say, leasing's stupid. No, it's not. It's not stupid. Leasing's pretty good depending on your cash flow, which I wrote about in my book. But again, the contraption is an old 12-volt battery. Got to get that sucker charged with a Schumacher battery charger. It's a smart charger, so you can plug that in the wall, leave it in there overnight. It'll stop on its own or have a trickle charge. You need an inverter, and you need a big enough inverter depending on the unit you're using. So in this case, if it's a fan, it's 40 watts. A dehumidifier, in that case, is 70 watts or 80 watts. But you need it big enough to run the unit you're using. If you had a 800 watt inverter running a 650, 700 watt heater, that's not going to be enough. In fact, you're just going to drain that puppy. When you're running battery electricity, you just don't want heating elements, i.e. coffee. And I have a 400 watt there too, which could have easily run both of these guys as well. And that's pretty interesting. So, moral of the story, don't throw your batteries away, my friends. Your batteries are helpful for sure for financial planning, because it can save you money in the long run. And the facts are, if you can get some kind of preparation when a hurricane comes through, it's just a basic old battery bank, and it's going to be too dark back here to show you, but I will. I have a couple, I don't think you'll be able to see it. Well, maybe. I have 2 marine batteries in there. You can hook them up in series. You can do all kinds of different things with batteries, but you have to have the batteries. And you have to have a way to charge the batteries with something like the Schumacher. And you can't be charging your batteries when the electricity goes out unless you have a PV panel, which I'll show you here, which is photovoltaic. and I do have one. That's my 270 watt photovoltaic PV panel. PV and photovoltaic are the same thing. All photovoltaic means is you're converting sunlight into electricity. And the best way to use electricity for PV panels, solar panels, is to charge batteries. That's the best thing you can do with your electricity or with PV panels. So at the end of the day, you have a PV panel. I'm not getting into that here, but just remember, if you have a photovoltaic panel, or panels in the plural, you absolutely use those to charge your batteries. And then you charge your batteries, and then you can run electricity with just this basic concoction there. You don't even need the Schumacher thing at that point, because you're charging it through your solar panels. Now, if you have a basic understanding how solar works, the sun is giving us around 1,100 watts on any given day for any one, I think it's 1 square meter of land. That's it. That's a max you're getting is 1,100 watts, and that's on average. I think on average, I don't think that was on average. On average, I want to say in Atlanta it's like 200, and it's like 180 watts. So in Atlanta, the average you're getting for any given hour is 180 watts. Now, it's off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was. I think it's 180 watts, not for any given hour, but 180 watts on average for 1 square meter. That's what it was. Roughly 180 watts of watts from the sun in 1 square meter in Atlanta. I think LA was like 270, 250, maybe Phoenix was 270 or something like that. Boston's like 140, maybe even lower than that. And so that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, the most you're getting on any given 1 square meter, which is roughly 7 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. And it's been a while since I actually calculated this in my head, but the most you're getting in Atlanta is you're getting 180 watts per square meter. So you can have a 300 watt PV panel, 270 watt PV panel. You're not getting 270 watts. You're just not, because the sun will not give you 270 watts on average. It's just not. I mean, A, you got the nighttime, B, you got clouds, whatnot. So that's the issue with PV. And a lot of people think this is panacea for electricity. It's just not. There's just no way. I mean, that right there is, that PV panel is, I think, 2.5 by 4 feet. That's the size of it. And at most, I'm getting 270 watts at any given, at most. That's it. And then if you take in Atlanta, you're getting on average 180. And the efficiency of that guy is only 15%. And what I can't off the top of my head, it's like 45 watts on average that I'm getting from that puppy. That's it. So you take 45 watts, you times that by 24. I think that's maybe 1.5 kilowatt hours a day. So that's not much. I mean, and that's not tiny either. It's basically, see, if you can see these mirrors right here, it's roughly the size of those 2 mirrors put together right there. That's the size of that PV panel. So I love photovoltaic. I'm a big fan of it, solar, but in terms of using it to run heating utilities, no siree, it's just not going to work. I mean, could it work? Sure. It's just going to take a lot of area to get a lot of electricity to run electrical heating units. It's just not worth it. What you should do is use your solar panels to charge your batteries, and keep your batteries, keep them topped off as much as you can, because when that hurricane comes through and now you're scrambling to get your batteries topped off and you're like, oh, I got to use my outlet right there. At that point, it's too late, because the electricity is down, and you don't want the electricity to be down because the whole point of having a battery power to run your fridge, to run your utilities and whatnot, is they got to be charged. And that's just that simple. So you got to keep them topped off, keep them charged, and the way to do that is just what we just showed you there. So I hope that helps. I mean, I know it may or may not be interesting to you. I've always found this interesting. And again, Steve Harris's battery bank video, battery 1, 2, 3, 4 is absolutely the way to go. You'll get a lot out of that. So hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.